All right, everyone, welcome to the channel. And the objective of this channel is to learn from reading and writing code. We are trying to read code that other developers created. And of course, we're trying to get packages that are very popular and they have a lot of quality, and learn the concepts and the ideas behind the surface, right? So we're getting into a lot of details. So the audience for a project like this would be, of course, developers, and the developers that share, of course, interests and knowledge from the project that we are working with. And I think that students or really basic level programmers will struggle a little bit with concepts, the basic concepts, if they are not very well aware of them. But I think nothing like a little bit of studying those things could not help. So I think in general, developers would feel comfortable following this. Very experienced developers, of course, might find this a little bit silly, probably, I don't know, but if they, for example, I don't imagine the person that developed the package would feel this very useful, but in any case, the other developers might, right? So before going to explain what the project is for this first video, I wanted to just give two warnings. The first one is about accuracy. Not everything that I talk here will be 100% accurate. Some things might be incorrect, actually, right? Because I try to capture the live sensation of the reading and writing. So if I was trying to read something or watch something to get something done, of course I wish the material would be very correct and very direct. But the idea here is to, at the same time we learn something, we also have fun. So that's why having this feeling of getting things together and the overcoming challenges together, I think it's more fun to capture. So that's why I will leave everything here. And with those two warnings out of the way, I think I can describe the project. So the idea here is to start learning, well, reading and writing Laravel, right? So Laravel, it's a PHP project, a framework that's been around for 12 years now, and it's very popular. I've been working with it for about 6 or 5 years now, and I'm very comfortable using it, but I never had to get into the deeper details of how it works. And of course, that's a good thing for a framework. You don't want to force your users to understand all the details to be able to use it. Otherwise, why using a framework in the first place, right? But for this exercise, I think it will be very fun to follow each line of code as far as we can, of course. The framework, it's huge, but I think we will be able to advance a lot and have fun and learn a lot of things from it. So let's start. The setup I have here, I'm using Linux, I'm using Ubuntu, and I just created a new Laravel project from start, and it's version 11. My website, it's well, actually I have some testing here. Oh yeah, so let's just remove the changes. So my Laravel project, it's bare bones, it's really the default one. We don't have to have many things. Well, this page already will provide us many hours of reading and testing. So we'll stick with this. This is Apache, this is localhost. It's just a host that I created locally here to simulate as best as we can the actual production app. And with that, we can start reading the entry point of any Laravel project. It's the index file, right? So if we go to public index, that's where all the applications using Laravel should start. And the first line here we see, other than the PHP tag being opened, it's the using the request file, right? So this request file is from the frameworks, from Laravel, Illuminate at HTTP request. That's the namespace. And just right here, it's a one simple thing, of course, and experienced developers will already know this, of course. But if you, for example, just started using Laravel and you are a very beginner and you managed to create a page, to create maybe even a small application, you always used this use statement here to start instantiating, for example, an object from a class or just calling static methods. And this is just because Laravel is using Composer to auto-load things for you. But before loading everything from Composer, if you try to use request, for example, if I try to do this new request, it should not work, right? If I refresh, then we have a broken application, and we can take a look at the logs. In my case, log Apache error log. Why there's nothing, the error. Okay, new request should be here. Okay, I think I will just restart my Apache. Apache 2. Right, let me just run it again and open my log. Okay, so if you take a look here, we have this error that the request class is not found, right? And that's because PHP doesn't know where that class is defined, right? Because it's not, we are not telling PHP which file defines that. So this might be something hidden from all the Laravel developers that never did anything other than Laravel projects, but you actually have to require, right, the file. So we are requiring once because I don't want to require more than one time. This doesn't matter. We are not going to stick with that, but it's just a practice. And because we are in public, I want to access vendor. So I will go back one time, vendor, then it's Laravel, then framework, then source, Illuminate, HTTP, and then the request file is here, right? And now if we run, I think we should have probably wrong here, right? No, it's not. Oh, no. I see what it is. So if we take a look at the latest error, it's saying unknown class, and then it's from Symfony package, right? So it's not Laravel anymore, and this happens because the request file from Laravel uses the Symfony package a lot. So Laravel, it's based a lot on Symfony packages, and it's creating things on top of that. So that's why we have another error here. we managed to require the request file correctly, but now we have another file that's being used inside that Laravel request that was not included, right? So required. So this is what all packages using Composer don't have to do. We don't usually do this because Composer it's doing that for us already, and we will see where it's happening. It's here in the auto load, right? But because the auto load it's here, everything before that doesn't can't rely on the auto loading features, right? So that's why if we want to use the request class here, which we are not, but if we wanted to do that, we would have to require, right, the file. That's one small thing here. If we remove, of course, we will get back to the default page, right? The second line here, it's just define the starting time of the processing. So Laravel start, it's just a constant that can be used for debugging, for example, performance debugging, and if you want to know how much time some process are taking, you can use that constant as the starting point of the process. Right? And then we come into this line here. This is where Laravel it's checking for a maintenance file, and the maintenance file it's stored here in the storage framework maintenance. This storage folder here, it's just a folder that's used a lot by Laravel for many things. So if we go there, storage, you can see there's an app, framework, and logs. The app folder, it's just for your application things. So right now it doesn't have anything, just a public, but doesn't have anything as well. The framework on the other side already has some things like caching, sessions, testing, and views, but also here all the inner functionalities of the framework. If they need something to be stored in files, they will use this subfolder here. So that's why it's the maintenance file, which is a framework file, it's stored here. And if we want to see it, we will have to put the application down first, because right now there's no file, and then this line here would just jump because the file doesn't exist, right? So if we put the application down, and now see it's service unavailable, and this is a default page for the application being down. If we go back here into the storage, you can see now we have two new files, the maintenance and the down. The down file, it's just a configuration file. And it's a file because we don't want to, when the application is under maintenance, we don't want to access resources that, for example, the database, because that might be, of course, the thing that we are maintaining or upgrading or changing. So we want to use as little as resources we can. So that's why the down file, I think, and that's my assumption, the down file, it's created to store configurations that you can pass by calling PHP artisan down. You can pass arguments here, and I think those arguments will be stored here, right? And the other file, it's just, let's just open that here, storage, framework, maintenance. And this file, it's copied from the framework folder in vendors to the public, because we want to have access. We want the application to have an easy access to that, even before Composer includes the auto loading, etc. So that's why I think it's here. It's being manually copied to the storage framework folder and manually deleted when you make the application up again. And if we read, so this is the first branching of the usual processing of the application. We are under maintenance, so this file will be required, right? So it will require maintenance file, and the maintenance file will be just the path for that file. This maintenance file starts by checking if we have a down configuration file. If we don't, I think it will just avoid completely any down configuration or setting. So let's just test that. If we just remove storage framework down, what happens? Yeah, the application doesn't know anymore it's being down, even though I didn't run PHP Artisan up. The application feels like it's up, right? I'm not sure if there's any bugs related to not calling Artisan up and deleting the down, but it seems to be working. So I will just call it Artisan up and down again, so we can have that down file again, and then we are in down mode once more. And the second part is to decode that file, because the file, it's a JSON file, right? Here, and we want, of course, PHP wants to, the framework wants to read what's in there, so it's just decoding, and the result here, it's just a array, right? So our dump data, it's an array. Yeah, so all the settings here, nothing much, but then we move to check if there's a template, and if there is no template, then we just return, and return means returning to here, right? So if I do die here, yeah, it didn't reach that part of the code because there's no template defined in the down. See, it's null. And so somewhere around the application, or somewhere after the maintenance file is included, the application knows that the system is under maintenance, and it handles by itself, right? The maintenance. The difference is that if we define a template, it seems that everything it ends here in the maintenance, because let's just do that. For example, if I define a template here and I run again, see, I get this string. Of course, it's not, yeah, this is this HTML here. I think it's just Firefox trying to make a sense of what's inside the return value from the server. But we just returned here, right? And the application just presented that, and nothing else other than that happened. So if I do here, this ASDF won't be even executed. Yeah, see, so if we have a template defined, the process ends here, right? And that might happen below here. Right, yeah, it executed until the end, echoed the template, and then exit. So if we have the template defined, we don't even include the autoload file from Composer. So this might be good if you are really trying to upgrade something that's automatically included. There are some, we will take a look at the autoload, but I think there are some packages that are automatically required by Composer. Of course, they are defined probably here. Autoload, the app, the factories, and the seeders. But autoload for dev, the test, scripts, extras. Yeah. Yeah, I think those things are, because I can see, for example, if we do DD, for example, DD, it's if you already work with Laravel, it's just a helper function for die and dump. If we do DD here, it doesn't work. Well, it won't work anyway because I'm already maintenance mode here. So let's just do null, then we will have a chance to run that. So see, error, and the error, it's just because there's no DD function, right? See, and the find function DD. But if we call it down here, I think it would work because we are already auto-loading that package. I think it's a Symfony package to implement this, if I'm not mistaken. But it will work. See, it's working. So definitely autoload does automatically require things for us. It doesn't require the entire application, of course. What it does is it's just create a mapping of the things you want to load, to require, to the correct file that implements that thing. And it creates a autoloader function that knows where everything is and requires the things you want to use just when you use them. But there are some things that it does really require automatically. So that's why I think having the template defined help if you want to change things related to those more basic packages, which you might not want to do maybe just when upgrading Laravel, for example, if Laravel changed that. But either way, we know now that if we have a template, then the rest of the framework doesn't even load. If we don't, then the rest will load, like what's happening here now. Let's save this. So this is Laravel saying the service is unavailable. And when I mean Laravel, I mean this is executed, for example. It just bootstrap the application and handle the request, right? So includes all the files, not all the files, but register the Composer autoload, includes some files, etc. So if we keep going with the more, with the smaller process, let's define let's just say maintenance. Oops. Right, so if we follow the maintenance file, and I think this one will be a good place to finish and wrap up this first video. If we follow this after, okay, we have a template, so let's not return, then we will handle exceptions. And this is interesting. Well, the configuration, the documentation, Laravel documentation talks about this, of course, but I never actually read that part of the documentation. I just learned this thing by just reading this code. There's a way to add exceptions to the maintenance mode, and the exceptions would be based on the URLs that you are trying to use. So if we take a look at the down here, there's this except array, and we can say that, for example, the main page it's an exception. So now if we try to open it, we should see, oh, we still are under maintenance. So why? So let's follow this code. If there's a data exception setting, which I think we do, right? Yes, we do. Let's just check this. We will do a die here. Right, we are here. All right. So if there is, then we get this URI, the uniform resource identifier, which in this case, I think we are getting the path from the URI, right? So this should be path probably, but yeah, we are definitely getting because we're parsing the URI that we get from the server, right? And this is the entire thing here. And we are just getting the path from that. And that's possible because the parse URL, it's a method, PHP method, to just split all the URI into different parts. And the path, it's everything that gets after the base URL, right? So in this case, this URI, it's just, let's just do dive or dump URI. It's just slash, right? Yeah, see, slash. Because if we had something like this, it would be ASDF, etc. Right? Okay, so we are getting that. We are decoding it. And this I read before. I was thinking why we would want to decode the URI that we just get, the path. It's because sometimes there's some weird URLs defined, like with space or any other code here. So if I do this, well, Firefox automatically adds a space here. But if we get here and do dive or dump URI, we'll see that we have a code here, right? And to compare, I think Laravel wants to make it simple to just compare strings in a human readable way. So that's why it's decoding. So it gets, instead of that URI with the path with the code, we just get, if we do this again, we get something more human readable. And then we are ready to compare, right? So for each exception, we will, oh, right. Okay, so this here, it's making sure that whatever the path it is, it's between slashes. But of course, if the path is just a slash, then it doesn't trim what we get with slash, because it's just a slash already. And this is doing the same, right? Except if it's not just a slash, it will trim with a slash, and if it's just a slash, it will keep it, right? And then it's ready to compare. And this here, I think it should compare to true in our case, right? So if we just do this maintenance, okay, but here we will say here, and it should, yeah, it's there here. So it's an exception and it's returning. Why am I not seeing? So allow framework to handle requests if the request URI is in the exclude list, which is the case, right? And so here I return to the index. And so if I do a die here, I should get, yeah, here. But I thought that the exception would be to see the, would be to see the application in in the up mode, for example, right? So that's a good place to read the documentation. Probably, well, let's just search for down. No, up. Down mode. Up, down. Okay. Debug mode, configuration. Let's just see the outline here. Configuration directory, retrieving, caching, debug mode, maintenance mode. Peer Bizarre artisan down. Okay. Refresh, retry, secret. With secret. Maintenance mode on multiple. So this secret, if you like Laravel to generate secret token for you. Right. So this secret here, it's another thing you can use to bypass the maintenance mode. So maybe that's the only way. The exception would be another thing, pre-rendering. So let's try except here. Nope, nothing about it. Huh, so there's no documentation about that. Seems like nope. Okay, so maybe that's a way to not bypass the maintenance mode, but at least leave the application to handle it, so it won't show your template. No, but my template's being displayed, right? Yes. Huh. Okay. We'll take a look at that later, I think, when we move into handling the requests. There's going to be definitely some place where our template here, because remember this template is defined into this down file, right? Down file, it's the one that has the template. And if we just return here without getting to this part where the template it's actually echoed, somewhere else in the application, that down file has to be read again and displayed, right? Otherwise, we would, let me just make sure we are not, so yeah, that's okay. PHP artisan down, we want to see, yeah, okay. So if we do the down editing again, we will do an exception, and here it's just here. Yeah, so Laravel, it's knowing beyond the maintenance file how to get that template that we defined, because it's definitely running things we can't use here anymore, but just test. And let's just make this, oops, here. Then we can use the DD. See, it's definitely going there. So interesting. Let's keep going here. So yeah, so that's what it does. If there's an exception, then it allows the framework to keep working, but again, it's not an exception for a maintenance mode. It's an exception to let the framework handle the request. It will still be under maintenance, right? And this except here, all right. I think this is going to just allow you to use regex to probably, I want everything under admin, for example, to be bypassed, right? Not bypassed, sorry, again, to be handled by the framework. So we can check that actually. If I do, if I die here and die here regex, just to make sure we make it clear. If I run this, nothing, right? Because it's going to be handled. We have another die probably elsewhere, or ADD. No? How that it's getting. Oh, right. Yeah. Let's just make this maintenance so I don't get confused. So it's not reaching here, but I think that if we do admin something, yeah, that's it. Here regex, because it's identifying the wildcard here, and well, this is I'm not very good at regex, but I think that this is trying to find the exception into the UI with some rules here, like this should be the start point, or yeah. But either way, it's doing a regex to allow developers to find to define places to let the framework handle the maintenance mode, right? So if I just do public, it would be handled by the maintenance file only. And if I do admin, then it goes to, well, actually, funny, admin needs to have something after it. Test. Yeah. Okay. So maybe this would work better if I have admin, right? If I have admin test, right? Okay. Yeah. But if I have admin something, still okay. Yeah. Okay. But either way, yeah, it's that. I think that's the end of this part. And the secret here and the other functionalities, I think we can cover in another video. I think this one is already taking a lot of time, but we'll stop here then, and we'll continue in the next video. If you want to follow, I'm not promising this will go on. Let's see what's the reception, and of course I have fun and I will keep reading. So if I find time, I will keep posting videos, and we'll see in the next one. Okay, bye bye.